Shalom, everyone. Welcome for our Hanukkah message, and especially for this year, 2025, the end of it and the beginning of 5786. We're in a very new world. Things are changing so fast in front of our eyes, and it is naturally scary. And when people get scared, they get upset, they get stressed out, and they are not at their best. And our job is to create the best as human beings. And the story of Hanukkah and the message of Hanukkah has a great message for our world, because our world is again a battlefield between the Hellenism, the Greeks of Hanukkah's story, that they idolized the body and all the dark sides of the body and the ideology of the body and physicality and materialism. I'm not saying that all Greek ideologies like this. We're talking about the ideology of Hellenism of those days. It was during the Hellenism of the Greek empires that came after Alexander the Great, and it continued with Rome. They were colonialists. They simply had no God above them. I'm talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. How do we know? Because they lived of robbery, taking countries that do not belong to them, enslaving people who were free, turning the slaves, the farmers, into slaves on their own lands. If you study that era, that was the story of the Greek and later on the Roman Hellenism. And here comes a small nation, very, very tiny at that time, and they declare war against such a superpower. And what's surprising is, that they won independence. It took them 25 years for the Maccabees to gain independence for Judea, as it was called at that time. First time an independent state, a Jewish independent state, since the destruction of the first temple some 400 years earlier, and at the same time being able to reconstruct Jewish study, Jewish learning in a way that we enjoy the fruits of that till today. And more than that, to leave a mark, not just in history and in culture, to leave a mark over the universe. And what do I mean by that? The Talmud has a very famous paragraph. It's in the Babylonian Talmud, Tractate Shabbat, page 21b. And it says as follows in Aramaic. It's a mixture of Aramaic and Hebrew. The Tanu Rabbanan, our sages, studied that on the 20th Bekafei Bekislev Yomei Chanukah Tamanya, on the 25th of the Hebrew month of Kislev, these are the days of Hanukkah, 8 of them. The Lale Mispadbon, this is not during those 8 days of Hanukkah. There is no time for mourning, for fasting. These are days of happiness. שכשנכנסו יוונים להיכל, טימאו כל השמנים. When the Greeks came to the temple in Jerusalem and defiled everything, including all the oils. וכשגברה מלכות בית חשמונאי, when the Hashmonaim, that was the house of Hashmonaim, that led the rebellion, when they took over, venitzchum and won, badku, and they basically took over Jerusalem and the temple, and they cleaned the temple, and they wanted to rebuild. And they rebuild the menorah, and they wanted to light the candles. בדקו ולא מצאו אלא פח אחד של שמן. They checked around and they found only one vial of oil, olive oil, that was still with the seal of the high priest. ולא היה בו אלא להדליק יום אחד, but he had enough, that vial of oil had enough oil only for 1 day. And it took 7 days to make new holy olive oil. נעשה בו נס, there was a miracle, והדליקו ממנו 8 ימים, and it lasted for 8 days. לשנה אחרת, for the next year, קבעום ועשאום ימים טובים. The sages declared permanently those days as holidays with Hallel every morning of this 8 days of Hanukkah, starting tomorrow morning. We say Hallel, which is a special prayer of thanksgiving. Hallel. Hallel is the beginning of the word Hallelujah. Hallelujah means, it's 2 words. It's 2 words saying praise and thank God. That's Hallelujah. Hallel means thanks. And the name of the prayer that is being recited in the high holidays is Hallel. So we say that prayer, we sing that prayer on Sukkot, Simchat Torah, Pesach, Shavuot, Rosh Chodesh, and Hanukkah. With Hallel, praising, vehoda'ah, thanksgiving. So, what does that mean? We are reading right now from the Arizal, the book of Pri Etz Chaim, the fruit of the tree of life, Gate 19, chapter 4, the secret of Hanukkah. פתח דבריי, in the opening of my word, ראיתי לבאר עניין מועדים. This is the time to explain what is the thing about the holidays. וראשי חודשים, and the ראש חודש, וחנוכה, ופורים. הנה עניין זמנים אלו. What's the issue with these special days? הוא התנוצצות אורות העליונים בזמנים הללו. These days, the special divine lights that shine on those times according to the time, which means every holiday, it's a different light. Sometimes the shining is through im bechesed, im begvura, sometimes the light shines through chesed, im begvura, sometimes through gvura, im betiferet, sometimes through tiferet. Im benetzach hod yesod, sometimes through netzach and hod and yesod, im malchut. כל אחד מתגלה לפי העת והשעה, which means, why did the sages, as we said before in the Talmud said, they had to wait a year, same thing about Purim, before they declared the holiday? So the word Chag in Hebrew means a holiday, but the real meaning of the word is making a circle. Chag. Chuga, chog, lachog. When you see an airplane or a bird flying and making a circle above your head, the word in today's Hebrew is chag. It's like the airplane is chag above my head, or let's say the bird is like making a circle above. The word is chag. Why? Because when the timeline, the dimension of time completes a complete circle, and we're coming to the same place astrologically, then if the event was powerful enough and it left a mark, an impression on the universe, that means that there is right now a gate in the universe. What does it mean, a gate? We live in a world which is a very limited dimension, which means the universe is the most powerful and dominant force in the universe is a divine light. It's not a physical light. It's a divine light. And God said, let there be light. That light is everywhere. There's no place without it. There's no particle that is not living, existing, without the power of that light. Without that light, if that light, God forbid, is turned off, everything ceases to exist. Why can't we experience that light 24/7? And the answer is, after the creation, the Creator created a whole bunch of screens, veils, so to hide that light, till finally we came to that point, which is called the point of this physical world. One little point in the universe, the huge, enormous universe, but there's one point, the Earth, in which there's enough concealment after concealment, veil after veil, that there is enough concealment so we can have a choice, free will between darkness and light. That we can really think that the darkness is stronger than the light. It's not. But only in this point of this dimension, of this world, that we have that ability. However, there are some perks. It's like something extra. That during the holidays, there is a gateway, an opening, through which the infinite light shines much stronger, like a crack in the veil, in the veils. While the high holidays, we starting with Passover, the crack, the opening, the gateway is in Chesed. So we have extra amount of Chesed, loving kindness, coming on that holiday. On the holidays of Tishrei, it's in Gvura. On Shavuot, it's in Tiferet. Purim, there is a gateway opening in Netzach. And in Hanukkah, this is Hod. Okay, then we have Yesod and Malchut, which is Tu Bishvat and the 15th of Av. כל אחד מתגלה לפי העת והשעה. In each special time, another light appears through an opening. Now, we have to know that biblical holidays like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot and Simchat Torah, we have Passover and Shavuot. They were created by God Himself. Therefore, at the Messianic era, they will, when we finish our correction, we won't have those holidays anymore. They were created to help us to achieve enlightenment. However, Hanukkah and Purim will stay forever because it's human beings who created the holidays by our own movement of overcoming our own limitation of logic and thinking and perception and belief system. And we simply, those people who created those holidays, when it's Purim, we're talking about the Jewish people at that time in the Persian Empire, and Hanukkah is those people in Judea at that time that not just rebelled, a physical rebellion, it was a fight for the light, no matter what. And because they awakened that from below, and the action was so powerful, the miracle was so powerful, but it was created by people believing or having faith, connection, power of bringing the light to overcome with so much certainty, to overcome the dire consequences of the situation, fighting logic, fighting history, fighting everything. And they created something that was impossible logically. But power of light that came in and intervened in the regular direction of history and changed it forever, that impressed itself on the universe. The sages were not so sure. They waited a year. And when a year was over and those sages who were clairvoyant enough to be able to see the lights shining again a year later, they realized, oh, this is eternal. This shining light will stay forever. Now the question is, what should we do to capture that light? And probably there were some discussions among the sages, and they came out with the idea of lighting candles. They came to the idea that just a candle is enough to do it. There were arguments about it, till finally the house of Shammai won, and that was the idea of lighting one candle in the first day, two on the second day, three on the fourth day, on the third day, so on, till 8 candles on the 8th day. And with all of these candles, lighting using a shamash, another candle that is shamash that will basically be the serving candle. And I won't go into it, why it matters. So if you stuck somewhere and you have only 2 candles, that's enough even on the 8th day. A candle is enough. So when we light the Hanukkah candles and meditate to bring one thing, to bring the eternal light from above to below, to our realm, so it will shine into our heart and into our minds, in and permeate into our reality and our society. So the lights of Hanukkah finally will win, because we are right now in another wave of Hellenistic style society, that it's all about logic and materialism. It's all about rationality, while people, most of them are totally enslaved, addicted, enslaved to the big corporations, to the banks, to all kinds of devices and lifestyles and fashion and trends. There's no place for you to be you. There's no place for a person to face his own soul. There's no place for real, true enlightenment. It's being mocked. It's being shunned off. It's being like society of today is totally turning its back to anything of true, real enlightenment, real morals and values. It's all very, very physical and corrupt, and it's everywhere, wherever you look at, it's there. And we are becoming more and more enslaved to the colonialism of the powers of the multinational companies and stuff like this. So what happens in Hanukkah? Says the Arizal, this in the same place, so the secret, סוד 8 ימי חנוכה, יהי מקבל את אור ההוד בעצמו. The light shines directly through the window that is open up in the Sephirah of Hod, in the tree of life. And the light comes in without veils, which means it's a stronger, higher light. When you receive that light, you're being enlightened. What happens when you're being enlightened? You can rise up, it can raise you, that light, to a higher perception, higher domain. That correction, that change in the universe was created by, the Arizal is saying, through Matityahu, Ben Yochanan Kohen Gadol. Matityahu was the father of the Maccabees. He had 5 sons. They led the rebellion. Matityahu was the son of Yochanan, the high priest in the temple. He corrected that connection only for the 8 days of Hanukkah. So only during those 8 days, we have that kind of an ability to connect to a higher realm of awareness. So if we can capture enough light during these 8 days, that will support us during our journey in the coming year. And this is why there is a say, לכן אנו אומרים על הניסים, we add a special blessing of thanksgiving in the Amidah prayer, the silent prayer, on that blessing that relates to Sefirat Hod. This blessing starts with Modim אנחנו לך, Perush Chanukah, and also the name, the word Chanukah, there are many ways to understand it, but Chanukah is the letters of Chana, Kafvav. Chana is a name, but Chana is also a code. There is a legend that during the horrible enslavement of the Hellenistic regime in Judea during that time, and during the rebellion, the leader or the king, Antiochus Epiphanes, captured a whole family that was fighting against him. That was 7 boys, 7 men, and their mother. Her name was Hannah. And he said, if you convert, you give up your Judaism, you eat pork, and you pray to our gods, I'll give you your life. But if you're not, I'm going to torture you, and I'm going to kill each one of the boys in front of their mother. And they did not want to convert. They preferred to die and connect to the Creator than to live in a lie. So the symbolism of Hannah, and her 7 sons, that's a symbol. But however, there's another thing that came out. Hannah is a number also. Chet is 8, Nun is 50, Hey is 5. Together 63. 63 is the code number for Sefirat Binah. Sefirat Binah symbolizes, as we studied in the high holidays of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot, where all the light of life is coming from. That's why it's called the mother. It's the mother of 7 sons. Sefirat Binah feeds the light, sustenance to the 7 sons. 7 Sefirot, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. 7 Sefirot of the lower world. So when we talk about Hannah, the mother, it's a code for the upper world, the 8th level. Okay, Hannah is Binah. Binah is number 8 when you count the tree of life from the bottom. And 8 is above the 7, is the supernatural, is 8. 7, we spoke about it a few times already. When you're talking about the box, right and left, 2, front and back, that's the way our perception works. Up and down, 6, and myself, who believes in those directions, whoever knows a little bit of how the brain works, it's the constant checking of all 7, me and the 6 directions. That's 7. The 8th, you cannot imagine which direction is the 8th direction. This is the direction to the supernatural. This is direction to above logic. This is direction to the godly dimension. Chana, Binah, is the bottom of that godly dimension that is interacting with us. That's why the number 8, 8 days of Hanukkah, symbolizes supernatural or reaching be outside the box. And that's why we have here, it's also, the symbolism of Binah is also snow. I don't know if Snow White and the 7 dwarfs is coming from here, but it's the same symbolism. There's no what, it's like the motherly vision of love and unconditional sharing and giving and so on, with the seven sons or seven servants or seven whatever that is receiving that grace from above. Now, the name of Sag 63 of Bina, we have also a lot of numbers, but this is Chana. And Kafvav, in the word Hanukkah, you have Chana, but you have also Kafvav. Kafvav is the number 26. 26 is Youdkevitch. Youdkevitch, the Tetragrammaton. This is the divine light of spirituality that shines into our world. So Hanukkah is Chana Kafvav. There's a union between the spiritual universe and the supernatural universe, and all of that is shining towards our dimension. Okay. ואומנם עניין כוונת ברכות הדלקת הנר. So how do we do that? Let's come to how do I receive, how do I draw down that awesome light of the infinite light of the creation, the infinite light when God said, let there be light. That was not a physical light, because the physical light comes only on the fourth day in the story of the creation. So what light was it? That was the light that precede that light. That's the life force that everything in reality is existing thanks to that light flowing through it. How do we receive that light? So this is the lighting of the Hanukkah candles, and there are those blessings over the candles. הם סובבים על ייחוד אחד עליון ושלם הנקרא נר. There is this kind of meditation. It's a very, very powerful meditation, which is called the ner. Ner in Hebrew, candle meditation. Now this meditation, let us say, okay? Okay, here it is. In this meditation, which is called Yichud, it's a 3 Yichudim at once. Okay? Let me explain. Whoever studies, and also we have online on our YouTube channel, we have, if you simply write in Google, in YouTube, basic Kabbalistic meditation, you'll find it. This is the Yichud meditation. That is the preliminary one, is the Yichud of Youdkevitch and Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. Okay? This is the unification of the, let me mark it. Okay. Oh, that's not it. Just a second. This one. No. I see the the marks where this is the Youdkevitch, the Tetragrammaton, symbolize the spiritual dimension. Spiritual. And now we have also the name next to it, Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, okay, also marked, which symbolize the physical dimension, okay, which is the judgment, like the male and female aspect of reality. Both of them, when we meditate on uniting, intertwining the letters together, that's called Yichud, connecting the up and the down, the heaven and the earth. Okay? The numerical value of these two is 91. Okay? 91. This one is very important, and you should exercise it as much as you can in order to reach higher consciousness. However, it has three different versions. One with, as we go up, Youdkevitch, as we see it here, with Aleph K Yud K. Together, this is 47. This is another aspect of a similar thing. It's connecting a name on the right, which is the Chesed, loving kindness, right column, with Gevura, judgment, but different aspect. And that's Aleph, Hey, Yud, and Hey. What is the name that is wrongly translated? I am what I am. It's not. That's what it is. Okay, the second Yichud is Youdkevitch with Elokim. Okay? And that will give you 112. If you take 47 plus 112 plus 91, you get 250. 250 equals Ner. Ner is a candle in Hebrew. Now, all three names on the left side, judgment, start with an Aleph. And that connects us to the 13 attributes of mercy, Notzer Chesed Alafim. That's the strongest of them all, giving grace and love to the Alephim, to the three Alephs, the three judgments. Notzer Chesed Alafim is also initials Leadlik Ner Hanukkah, to light the candle of Hanukkah. Okay, I hope you didn't get mixed up with that. That's the main meditation of the Hanukkah lighting. If you do just this meditation, that's good enough. That's the Ner meditation. Now, there are 25 letters in this meditation. And Hanukkah is the 25th of Kislev. Ner is 250. Okay, and we know that in many civilizations, many cultures, when you want to connect to Yichud, you want to connect and bring down a spiritual consciousness, you light candles. You cannot see that spiritual power or awareness you want to tap into, but you light a candle to help you that connection. So there is the candle itself that is powerful enough, but the code of the candle is these letter sequences that you see in front of you. Is that clear? So when we light the Hanukkah candles, that meditation should be the main meditation, especially when we say the word Ner in the blessings. Leadlik Ner Hanukkah. And now some other meditations. Let's go back. Okay, first, we put the Chanukiah by the door opposite to the mezuzah. Okay? Outside. Now, and this is if you live in a house of the old days, like in the old city in Jerusalem, whatever, that you open a door into an alley, and everybody passed by the alley. You can see that tonight and the other 8 nights of Hanukkah in the old city of Jerusalem. in the old city of Tzfat and other places that have the same thing of like narrow streets, not highways or something like this. Okay, but if you live in a high rise or something like this, you light it either by the door of your own door or by the window so the light shines outside. However, it's a problem because, it's not higher than 10 meters, because higher than 10 meters, people don't see from walking down the street. Okay, but what's higher than 10 meters? It's 20 amma, which is 10 lights of direct light and 10 of the returning light. It's a metaphysical measurement. It's not just, it's physically higher. Okay, and you light the Chanukiah low by the door, opposite to the mezuzah, but low, between 3 to 10 handbreadths. Okay, so it's low. Why is it low? First of all, if you see because we bring the light from above to below. Why to the left side? Because as the Zohar says, at the doorway to your house, there are two forces, positive and negative. The positive is on the right, and that's why we put the mezuzah on the right side to strengthen the positivity. So we are being protected from the negativity when we come in and when we get out. However, the strength of the negativity is on the left side at the bottom. That's where we put the Hanukkah, the menorah. And when we make the blessing and then we light the menorah, we meditate, we imagine that we bring the infinite light from above and light it below to shine into the darkest place in our hearts, in our household, in our family, in our neighborhood. So to remove the darkness of materialism, hatred, whatever is really destroying our lives, addictions. We are adding candles from left. No, it's like when we light the Chanukiah inside the house, okay, then we add in the candles left to right, and we add them right to left. But when we light the Chanukiah outside the house, the rule is we light first. The first night is the first candle that is closest to the door. And then we add a candle further away from the door, and we light them. We light first the one that we just added. So if we are inside the house, we add the candles left to right, and lighting light, and then right to left. If it's outside the house, which means just in the alley or in the front of the street, that's opposite. Okay? Because the sin is crouching at your door. Genesis 4:7. It's also the infant will play near the cobra's den. That's the cobra's den. That's the snake dwells in that point of the house. We also meditate. We know on the mezuzah we have the name Shin Daled Yud, which has the power to remove negativity. But if we take one step above in the order of the Hebrew alphabet, one step above Shin is Taf. One above Daled is Hey. One above Yud is Kaf. You get Kaf Hey Taf, the 8th name of the 72 names, which is with the power to drive away negativity. It's also the 8th name, to drive away the negativity with the help of the Hanukkah lights, or the light of Hanukkah. Okay, how do we do the first blessing? When we say Baruch, we bring the light from Keter, from the upper Sfirot. Ata is right column. Adonai, the central column. When we say the name Aleph Dalet Adonai, just a second, we say the name of God. We make it's the first Yichud, Youdkevitch, Aleph K Yudke. Just a second.
Rabbi,
What?
so Baruch is a left column or right column?
Baruch is connecting to the source of the light. Okay? It's not right, not left, and not center. The source of the light. Okay? So we have here Youdkevitch and Aleph K Yud Also, when I spelled out, like here, they come to the number 72 plus 161, which is Regel, high holiday. Okay? And there's the sages, I hinted about it, that what's the time, how long can you light Hanukkah, how late can you light Hanukkah candles, as long there's a foot in the marketplace. Why foot? Why regel? It's a hint that it's as long as people are around, but means that Hanukkah is like a high holiday, but many. Okay. So that's Baruch Atah Hashem. Elokeinu is left column. Melech haolam, asher קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק. I'll send you the whole thing written down in a PDF because you cannot download it from the site. Okay, it will be also on the YouTube on this recording. If you go down to the description, you have the link for that. Okay, להדליק is also the combination is 180, which is 63, 45, 52. I'm sorry, 72, 63, 45 together, which means we bring the light from all the olamot through all, it penetrates through all the olamot, through all the curtains. When we shine, when we light it, Ner is the three Yichudim, as we explained before. Hanukkah, it's a 63 plus 26. And also Lahadlik Ner Hanukkah, this is Nachal, a river, to bring the light from above to below, the light of Chesed to turn any negativity into positivity. That's the first blessing. The second blessing, again, Baruch is Keter, we connect it to the source of light. Atah is right column. Then the name of God. And here we connect Youdkevitch Elokim, Melech HaOlam, She'asa, that made, we meditate on the two ways to write Aleph Lamed. Aleph Lamed is Chesed, is the name of God of Chesed. She'asa is Gvura, judgment. Elokim. Nisim לאבותינו בימים ההם בזמן הזה. And the third blessing that's being done only on the first night, we light Baruch Atah. Again, Adonai. Here, it's Youdkevitch Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. Elokeinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. And this is how you light the candles. On this blessing, as I said, is being said only on the first night we light the candles. Okay, meanwhile, I think we covered most of it. There's more to read in the explanation in the booklet. Anyone has a question? Okay, happy Hanukkah. And may the light penetrate all the darkest corners in the hearts of humanity. And there will be really an end to violence and hatred and materialism and whatever is stopping the light from revealing.
Amen.